if you can't make this decision with a little bit of discomfort, there's no way you'll even pull off what the hell goes on in married game. So,
yeah, I need a bag, bruh. Send it through quickly. I'm making his dog like I'm in a big leagues. Yeah, I told him I'ma hit it out of stance. I deserve another 100 bands.
Welcome to another episode of the Married Game Podcast. We are the voice you trust when it comes to lust. We are who you hire when she lacks desire. And if you are not flirting, your married life is hurting.
Say that again.
We're going to be releasing some things called the game guides, like little 5 to 7 page things. And the very first one we're going to release before before Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay.
Is going to be, our first game guide is going to be on flirting.
Like little pamphlets.
Yeah, it's going to be better than a pamphlet, but it's a guide.
Like I said, it's a guide. Little guide.
It's just a game guide. Game guides will be coming out very shortly. We're excited to be able to get those in your guys' hands so that way you have some punchy, pithy, and powerful pamphlet. Pithy is like, do you know what that means?
No.
It's
that's why I asked.
Like a short statement that's funny but kind of cutting, kind of like it's pithy. It's witty might be another way of saying it. Oh. Yeah, a pithy statement. Yeah, pithy.
Just sounds like you have a lisp.
Yeah, and his attitude's
Can
a little.
you help me that pithy, please?
He has a little pithy attitude. Why are you all pithy today?
I love learning a new word.
See, told you.
Told you. See,
I don't know what you were singing. I don't know what I told you, but I know
told you so.
I know we're on the Married Game Podcast, and we're the voice you trust when it comes to lust.
My new favorite saying, we're being silly. Wouldn't you like to know? Remember?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know? Oh,
what
yeah.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Well, today we want to hit a dial.
Yes.
And before we hit that dial, we want to make sure that these people are not nerds, and they're, oh, jeez. Don't be a nerd.
There we go.
Spread the word.
You can do it.
I believe in myself.
You can do it.
I am always shocked at how many people listen to this podcast, and I'm always blessed to hear that when they do, how much it helps them. And so we have a comment from our listener. No, I'm just kidding. We don't. That'd be fun if we did, though, wouldn't it?
You're on a roll, aren't you?
I know. I'm on fire. Okay. So the dial, by the way, spread the word. And
now scene.
I get excited when I do this with you because normally I'm like in go mode. I'm doing business stuff. I'm cranking on stuff, and then it's like I watch you walk in like an absolute vision today. You're a
snack.
You're a snack. We already ate earlier, but boy, you're a snack.
Boy, I'm hungry.
Boy, thirsty. Okay.
I love shooting the shit with you.
All right. Okay. So you're like probably thinking, guys, are you gonna say anything?
I know. Are we just gonna keep being silly?
We're just. Yeah. Okay.
We have a good dial to talk about.
Tell us about it then.
It's called the parent dial. Because we're parents.
Ooh.
Because in all relationships, mostly you become parents.
You're talking about the little cock block dial.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
For a while, at least.
That is a dial that is considered for a while the cock block dial.
Yes. But I don't know if many people know. I've mentioned this in the podcast, but if this is your first one or you've only listened to a couple, I was first a stepmom.
Yeah, you were.
To your 3 little lovely cock blocks. To the 3, and the 2 boys and a girl. And Julia was 8, and Caleb 9, 10 or something, and 11, 12. And that was a lot. Definitely.
Talk about throw you into the deep end of the pool.
At 25, a mom to 3 of yours, which actually I think being a step parent is harder because there are certain ways that I would have liked to do things and I can't, right? I'm not the real parent, or you're not my mom stuff. Yeah. And that was really hard and they're already set in their ways of certain things that I wouldn't have allowed. I also was 25, so at 25, you're like, I'm not doing this. My kid will never eat cereal and all the things until you get a little older. You have your own, you kind of ease up. And so I was more rigid, which to my fault that hurt me. And they were very loosey-goosey in some certain areas.
Unfortunately, they were being in two homes, and
Yeah.
we had a set of standards in our home, and they had a set of standards
Sure.
in their home, and very different standards.
Yeah, and that's what's difficult.
Yeah.
And, they're already them. And so we butt heads a lot. Now that they're a lot older, and it's been 12 years, gosh, they are so fun to hang out with now.
Oh, because
they're adults.
Oh, yeah. God, they're a blast. They're funny.
Yeah.
They're quirky. They got
Yeah.
their own opinions.
Yeah. So they're so fun to hang out with now. But and just a little side note, I remember you were working, and I had stopped working because I had the kids a lot during the summer and stuff, and on weekends, and we traveled together. So I remember having them on during the summer, and they just weren't listening, and I was frustrated, and I would just go in the garage and cry a lot, which I'm not even like that emotional person, but I was like, I'm stuck. And that was frustrating. And I was so frustrated that I would just cry sometimes. It was really difficult.
Jesus, dude.
Why didn't I leave then? Gosh.
Why I feel differently about it now than
Yeah, you
probably
do.
what you told me then. I think step parenting is so difficult and so tough because you're like, this isn't really my kid, though it is.
Yeah.
And they're not going to listen to me.
They don't.
And fuck, I already got them when the stick's bent. The whole fucking thing's already crooked. It's very hard to straighten that thing out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you, at the time, and that's why I left you, you weren't the best parent. And I thought by like finding a dad, you with kids, I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna be the best parent. He already knows all the things.
Yeah.
And that was definitely not the case. You were like done.
Tricked you.
Yeah, you were like, no, I'm so over kids. Yeah, I guess we'll have one. You were more like that. You had already done the things.
Yeah.
And so I feel like a lot got put on my shoulders. And it was really heavy to hold. It was a lot.
Yeah, well, because you didn't have somebody holding it with you. You had all the weight on your own shoulders.
Yeah.
What a fucking Trevor douchebag I was. Like, for real.
It was a lot. And then now we had Jovi, and you didn't change a diaper, maybe 4.
I think I did 6.
Wow.
Let's be honest. We can't lie to the good listeners of the Married Game podcast.
Yeah. And that was difficult. And then I left you. What was she, like 2? Because I was like, I can't do all this.
This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was difficult until we got back together. And now you're so amazing now. And and instead of like you have to watch her, you're like, oh, when do I'm going to schedule in time with her. I can't wait to hang out with her.
Yeah.
And now it's not like weird for me to be like, hey, can you watch her? I'm going to go to my mom's or do something. Because before I felt like that. Like, hey, can you? I have to ask you. It's like, no, when are you putting in the time too? We're both parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we got thrown in my niece. She's 17 and a half now, but we've had her 1.5 years, maybe almost 2. So that's a whole nother teenager.
Crooked.
Yeah.
Like, she's been raised by a set of parents that have very different values than us. And it's been cool. We've been able to be a real light to her. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
In terms of this, because I think a lot of people, they may hear the term cock blocks and they may giggle, but why do we say that? Let them know why we say that.
Well, like for a woman, I'm just going to speak for myself. It's like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I am consumed. That is my number one priority. It is. Like you say that women don't divorce kids. They just don't. So number one, I birthed this baby. She is everything to me. So it's hard to get out of the home, out of mom mode, and to be something else. So like, obviously that's a cock block. I'm like, oh, I'm really frustrated right now. It's hard to do the things. Or they got up early in the morning, or Jovi woke up in the middle of the night till she was like 3. She wanted a little cuddle, talking to, and then put down. Like, I'm tired the next day. There's a lot of reasons why they're cock blocks. So
yeah, and guys, I don't think understand that it's first of all, it's a season. Young kids is a season. When you're in it, you think, oh shit, this is the rest of my life.
Yeah,
and it's actually not.
It is like, you're like, this is it. This is what the joy of kids.
You're like, fuck this, dude. Yeah.
And now we're like climbing out of that, and now we're like Jovi's going to her friends, or she has parents' night out at school, and we're like, Jovi, where are you going? Like, now we want to hang out with her.
Yeah.
Like, she's gone a lot now.
Yeah, and you know, so that's kind of your perspective as a mom, why they're cock blocks, because of the energy that this thing. For a guy, he sees that, and he sees you wanting to be, dude. First of all, so step parenting is not easy. The stay-at-home mom thing is not easy. And it's I hate that our society, I'm not going to get in a long rant on why I believe it is the way it is, but what a fucking bag of lies women have been told, that being a stay-at-home mom is less than a business or career woman.
I still check myself when they're like, what do you do? Well, now I do stuff with you, which is so much fun, but I say I'm a mom. Well, sometimes I'm like, I'm just a mom, and then I do, and I'm like, wait, I'm a mom, which is a big deal, and then I also do this now with you. But in the beginning, I'm like, I'm just a mom.
Yeah.
Just, like, throw that word away. I'm a mom.
Yeah.
That's difficult.
Well, first of all, if a guy trades spots with his wife for one day, he cannot wait to get back to the office. He's like, fuck this. I love my kid, but I want to go make deals and sell and help and serve and solve. But I think the concept and paradigm of parenting has become so wrong and skewed, and we have been conditioned as a society that parenting is like this. I need to set this up real quick.
Okay.
You okay with this?
I guess so.
Okay. So if you think about man in the wild, there was a real purpose for having children, and a lot of them. Number one, it would make your gang bigger than the rival gang over on the other side of the hill. Gang, tribe, country, whatever the fuck you call it. And we wanted a lot of them. So, hey, if we're having 10, and that's why you read a lot of these ancient texts, why they were so incessant and cared so deeply about having boys. Why? Because they're going to fight, right? Secondly, how did they make their food? They didn't go to the grocery store and pick it out on the produce aisle and run it through a checker. There was none of that shit.
Yeah.
We needed people to work the farm. We needed people to tend to the sheep.
And mostly boys.
Yeah. And
with muscle.
But we also need girls so we can have more boys. You know what I mean? Like, so there was this thought that children were so important because it's what continued to make everything go on. Who we are as a species, keeping our species going. That's been lost in our modern civilized society, not just because it's modern, but also because we've been so conditioned that moms and dads are off working and the kids now become afterthoughts.
Yeah.
And I think that's where everything gets fucked up. Your children are not an afterthought.
I totally agree with that.
So I probably showed up for my first 3 kids as if I've got something I'm doing and you guys are an afterthought. Whereas now I look at Jovi and Adrian in some ways as like, it is so important that you understand, and it's why I teach Jovi, and I do a lot of things that a lot of dads do not do with their kids. I tell them how much money I make.
Yeah.
I get them thinking about, how are you going to be independent? How carry your own weight.
That's a big one in our house.
It's really huge.
Yeah.
But these types of things where someone might look on and go, man, you might be kind of not harsh, because I don't think anybody would say I'm harsh on my children, but they would be like, man, you hold them to a high standard. And the answer is, yeah, because I know how hard it is to create what you want to create in this world, to have options and have freedom. And dude, if they aren't prepared for it, they're going to get their ass kicked. I got my ass kicked when I became a man. And I was not prepared for what the reality of the world was. I was raised and became, because I was a good athlete, pretty damn entitled. And it really stunted my growth for a very long time. And so now I'm looking at this like, these kids aren't an afterthought. These kids aren't an appendage. These kids aren't just drag them along. These kids aren't just hang on and follow me and you guys just figure it out. It's like, no, dude. I got to raise our daughter, and in a sense, Adrian, is as long as she's with us and what I can, to be like, hey, this is, you're really important. And I need to teach you how to be this thing. It's why I was so incessant on making her read and not giving her a laptop until she knew how to read. I wanted to give her that laptop 1,000,000 times.
Yep.
It's why I'm so incessant, like, you've got to do this, and before we do this, you've got to understand this. So I just think that the society and culture has put parents, and they've got a school system, have your schools, like we
throw them in
we
there
have
so I can do
signed off
something
on all this shit. And because the parents don't have the real investment of spending time with their kids, they're not actually enjoying the fruit of that. Because the truth is, the reason why I get so excited to hang out with Jovi is I'd rather hang out with her than damn near anybody. Because she's smart as shit. And she has some very clever ways of looking at things. And not for nothing, she's like you.
She's definitely an outside the box thinker.
Well, but I almost have to have game with her.
No, you definitely do.
You know what I mean? Like,
I love that you said that. It's so cute.
It's like, okay, this is a little female growing into a woman, and I'm her best example of who she's going to marry. Let me tie this back together. I don't want to ramble the whole time. I know you got some fun stuff to say. They say that who you marry is the most important decision of your life because who you're partnering with in life it determines a lot. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Where do our children get the idea of who they should pick and what standard and criteria they have?
Obviously.
Us. Jovi will judge every dude based off of me. Dude, that is such a heavy burden.
Yeah.
Hold on. It's not that heavy a burden. It's a big responsibility, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because it actually doesn't feel like a heavy burden. It feels like, dude,
it's exciting.
Watch me.
Yeah.
I'm living the way a man should live in our society. Watch this, and don't you dare settle. So I even jokingly I said, you know what the 3 things are that your boyfriends have to have? She goes, what's that? I said, well, they got to have muscles. She goes, okay. I said, number 2, they got to be funny.
Yeah.
And number 3, they got to have tattoos. And she's like, Dad, they don't have to have tattoos. I said, well, if they don't bring them around. If he's 9 years old or 10 years old or 12 years old, you're not going to date till you're 22 anyway.
Yeah, don't say 9.
Hey, if he doesn't have tattoos, I don't want to even meet him.
Yeah.
And then I pause. You've heard me say this a bunch to her. Almost every man in her life that she looks up to, that she would like either call uncle, like Uncle Garrett, or her actual uncle, Unky, or all my friends, almost all of us have tattoos and muscles.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what she sees. So I love it. I love it so much because I see the actual fruit of it is so powerful and it's so fulfilling.
Well, she's the one that I have had with you. What?
You need to come a little closer to the mic. Yeah.
She's the one that I have had with you from me. So from day one, obviously. So I feel like that we both have really, really, really put that investment in her, and she is amazing.
Yeah.
You had to fill out something about your kid or something, and you were like, Jovi, she's amazing. She's perfect.
Yeah.
Right? So, and she is. So,
yeah.
And I think that's how much time we invest in her, what school we put her in, which is a huge investment, how much we talk to her, how much knowledge we give her, how much freedom that she feels like she has a voice to say something to us.
Yeah.
We don't shame her for anything she thinks about. That has really made her into like something so amazing.
Okay, so also, but let's talk about this because we're sounding like the parents about how great our kid is right now.
Well, that one. Okay,
but listen, a couple things. Let's talk about parenting and sex, and then let's talk about parenting and how we show up. Let's talk about how we show up first.
Okay.
She's never heard us yell.
No.
I've never yelled at her.
No. You said go to your room one time, and she's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna go to my room.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know what's interesting? I think
I want to talk about why. I want to say specifically when she is doing something wrong. She's human, which is fine. But we explain what she's doing wrong and why it upsets us. So we're like explaining and talking through the whole thing where she's not like in trouble. We're just like, we don't like that if you do this because of this or that or whatever.
Because how it's going to affect you.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
And she doesn't do it again. We just
I
explain
hate
everything.
that talk down to their kids like
Me
they're
too.
little pieces of shit.
I can't.
Like it just drives me crazy. Like,
because they don't know until you teach them.
Are you that insecure, and are you that inconvenienced by your kid? What the fuck is the matter with you, dude?
Yeah, to shame your child. Does that make you feel better?
Like how? But dude, it's a lot of people. Like most people aren't on path. On a life that they're on path.
They're struggling through everything.
And I hate that. Yeah. And I was that. I've been through that. You've been through that. We talked about the other hard thing is you don't want to see your kids struggle, especially when you have abundance. You can just pretty much give them anything. Yeah. And it's like no. This struggle brings strength. That's how you get muscles.
Yeah. That you build up.
Yeah. So it's like watching them. Even I'm watching my two sons, 20. 4 or 5? Are they 25, 23, 22? They're somewhere in there. They're in their 20s.
They're old.
You can look at my tattoo and find out the date, but I don't remember. But they're old. They're older and they're awesome. But they're having to find their way, and they're doing about like what I did at 22. Yeah, you know what I mean, and 23. And so, as a parent, you kind of struggle with like shit. Like I want to like almost handicap them. Sure. But you can't. And
because they won't learn and build that muscle to be resourceful.
Yeah.
To want to do better. They'll just take it and then
I do it as a coach too. Yeah. I had a situation. This is going to be an aside, but I want to make sure we hit it. Sidebar. There's sometimes that guys won't come into our, or they got to really think about coming into our program, or I don't know, that's a big investment, blah blah blah. And my line lately has been, hey, listen, if you can't make this decision with a little bit of discomfort, there's no way you'll even pull off what the hell goes on in married game. So you're gonna not be able to make a decision and have a little courage to invest in yourself to radically change your situation. You think you're gonna get in this program and you're going to have to actually be the man again and stand up to a wife who's ran you and held your balls in her fucking cave. And you think you're going to go fight that dragon and you can't even make an investment in yourself to test? What the fuck are you thinking? So we have some really interesting people. It's why we probably work mostly and almost exclusively with entrepreneurs, because they've already they're like, I'm used to making some money decisions and investing
doing hard
in
things and they're ready. Doing hard things and they have coaches. Yeah. They're used to having a coach in certain areas, so they listen, they do the things. It's which benefits.
Well, so we even have a coach when we're working through parenting issues, not necessarily with our daughter, but with our niece. Yeah. We like, hey coach, what are we not seeing? What's an outside perspective? Yeah. So doing these hard things, it's our job to raise our kids to do hard things. So yelling at kids seems ridiculous.
It does.
I have like zero.
We don't even yell at each other.
That was my point.
What is yelling?
That was my point.
Well, you just raise your voice.
Who do you go and yell at in the real world?
Yeah. No.
And if you are, unless for some reason you're trying to save somebody or keep somebody from danger, you look like a fucking idiot. Like you just, there's an unhinged man who can't even control his emotion. Well done. Yeah. You are
you're
a
the man
child.
Now.
What a fucking child.
Yeah.
So why people do that to kids? You know what it shows me? I go, because that person can't fight back. You're a fucking pussy if you have to yell at, berate, belittle, and degrade a child because they can't fight back. Why don't you come do that to me?
Did your parents yell? Guess not if it doesn't rightly come quick to you.
My dad would yell at my mom. And sometimes he would yell at my brother. I don't think my dad yelled at me much because if I vaguely remember if he would act that way, I'd go, why would you talk to me that way? Why don't you just talk to me like a normal human being? So I think in an essence, I kind of grew up with this. In some way, I wasn't perfect at it. I wasn't like this born expert at this, but like, why are you talking that way?
Yeah.
Like nobody likes being talked to this way. So this is highly ineffective.
Yeah.
So why are you doing that?
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's the piece of the parent dial. But now for the guys that have DDS, dry dick syndrome.
Oh my God. I'm like, what's DDS?
You're like, never heard of it. Yeah, you don't have a dick.
What's that?
How does this relate to a woman being attracted to her man and how he shows up as a dad?
Obviously, when I left you, I was completely turned off way the other way because, like you say in a lot of your speeches, it's like I birthed and carried this thing, and I expect you to help me with it and to help raise it and to be the man figure, and you weren't. And I was so turned off by you not being the perfect parent with me, or trying to be in the beginning, where I was just I lost so much attraction for you, mostly because of that.
So the parenting dial was the dial where you're like,
parenting and partner mostly.
Fuck this fool.
For me.
Yeah, because what else? Yeah.
Yeah. And
can I say some stupid shit?
Please.
Yeah. Stupid shit guys say that I said that I think are some telltale signs where a guy, if he catches himself saying this, I love this type of stuff.
Me too.
If you catch yourself saying some of this stuff, you are missing the point. And the point is, if you are saying, I've got to babysit my kids.
Yeah. Ugh.
You're not babysitting your kids. They're your kids. You're a dad. The role of child rearing, while it might be left to the mother while he is away hunting buffalo, most guys come back and expect that they have nothing to do. That's just the mom's job. Mm-hmm. And what a shame that your influence, your positive influence, isn't more on that child by spending time with them when you're home. Mm-hmm.
I heard you say that you regret, that's something that you actually regret, is not being there for me and with Jovi when she was little, to cement that relationship and to be a teammate with me.
Yeah.
And that does mean a lot that you say that, because that is a huge thing that we're, not resentment, but that's a part of our relationship that makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Because boy, I would just have loved to just wake up with you in the middle of the night and we're both tired and we're both in it.
Well, because you don't feel like a partner when you're the only one doing it and the other person's in the other room or out asleep, or like, hey, that's your problem. You don't hear me complaining about work. Why are you complaining about your job?
It's like, that's how our energy was too.
I've been that guy.
Yeah.
So if a wife wants to come and talk to a husband, he's almost this is a lot of guys' mentality. Well, dude, you get to be home all day. Yeah. And I'm out here working, and it's like,
that's exactly.
But
wow. But don't ever say that.
But here's why: most men who say that they're not on path. Mm-hmm. They don't like what they have to go do, and so they're like, God, wouldn't it be great to be home?
Yeah.
But for a guy like me, I'm on path. This is my creator studio. Yeah. I come over here. I'm creating. I'm like a hog in slop in here. I'm like, oh my God, we can create this and we can solve this problem. And, oh shit, you're not gonna believe what I came up with. And you're like, whoa, that's great. I've been pulling my hair. Not lately because Jovi's older. Yeah. But the other thing that I sad about that I wasn't able to partner with you on in that regard is that I don't know. There's no way I can know this for a fact. I have a hunch that I feel like I know that there was some bonding time that Jovi, between when she was born and about 3, that there are tentacles and roots that get bonded between a parent and a kid that didn't go as deep as they could have. And I feel like it's not that I just missed out on that time, but there's probably an effect. Now, maybe I've overcompensated for that and being such a good dad now, but like there's a bonding thing that happens with a parent and a kid during those times.
Yes.
And I think I missed out on that. And so that would be like, oh shit, I wish I would have done that. Hey, wishing and hoping and praying is for fools and losers. So it is what it is. But if I could share my wisdom with another man that's got young children, and I do have friends with young children, and they do look to me as the dude that's got a 25 or 6-year-old and 23-year-old and 20-year-old and a 17-year-old and a 9-year-old.
You got a compliment, like you're the best dad.
I get that all the time from my friends. And
which I'm like, what? But you are now.
But so I go, whoa, hey dude, just so you know, that 3-year-old will turn 13. Oof. And you will want to go back to this so you can heed the wisdom. Very few do. But that you're going to wish you could go back. I wish I could hear Jovi say beautiful. I wish I could hear her say a lot of the shit that she would say.
Give me a minute.
Like
when she was yeah.
Dude, she would take a shit under my desk, and it was so cute. It was so cute. So
I know
the attractiveness of a man and how he shows up for his kids, for a woman, you're telling me there's a big deal there.
Well, that's like, what do women say when they see a hot dad and their baby? They're like, oh my God, that's the hottest thing I've ever seen. Like, it's true.
A hot dude and a baby and a hot dude and a small dog.
Even when they're pushing the stroller and there's a baby, I'm like, wow, that is so cute.
Yeah.
You know, it's exciting.
I wonder it's because it's so unique in our society that
it's
it
less unique now. It's more of a thing.
Is it?
Yeah. Than before, I think it was like.
Oh yeah. Dude.
You hardly see a hot dad and a baby, whereas, you know, like the older dudes in the 80s and with their kids, you're like, ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You rarely see hot dads.
There's more now than before.
More hot dads.
I think, yeah.
Dude. I'm gonna go off on a wild tangent here for like 14 seconds. Right. I'm 45. I feel like when my dad was 45, he was ancient.
My dad.
No, not your dad.
My dad was hot.
So I grew up with a dad that when he was hit 40, he was over the hill.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's all, dude. He's probably, God, when are we gonna put him in a home?
Wow.
I'm 45 and I feel 22 years old.
Yeah.
I'm very active, extremely athletic, and I ain't stopping anytime fucking soon. And I'm dating a 23-year-old.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
what are we doing here?
Woo.
You look so good today.
No, I feel like my parents looked really, really good for a long, long time. My dad still, what was his birthday yesterday? 62?
I thought he said 3.
2 or 3.
Either way.
And he looks still fantastic.
My biggest dream was, and I sucked at it, was you know this, was to be the dad that all the kids came to his house, almost like an Italian Godfather feel. And
I always wanted that too.
I still have
to be in the kitchen and all the kids.
I still have years for that to still work. And when my kids came over for the Super Bowl,
the bigger kids?
Yeah, the big kids. My boys, like, we're real cuddly and touchy-feely. And
you hold their hand.
I love them, dude. I love those guys.
Yeah. You've always been like that with them.
I want them to succeed. And I know what it takes to actually succeed in this life, and to not just have a successful mindset, but to have the fruit of, dude, that guy's thriving. Yeah. And I want them to thrive, and I want them to feel good. When my son first started becoming a tattoo artist, I was like, you are not touching me until you're good. But his tattoos now are so good. I'm like, I would be honored to have one of his tattoos.
He's doing so good.
Yeah, it really.
He'll probably open up his own shop.
Yeah, one day.
I think so. Well, practical things that we have learned recently for having a new teenager again is we're the parents, we're the leaders, and to always hold space and always be, not let them, teenagers try to conquer and divide. They try to one up you. They try to tear you down. They feel better is because what our coach taught us is that there's not a passage a right to be an adult anymore. It's more, nowadays they're trying to, that's where they get their power from.
They're trying to gather power from you.
Yes, exactly.
The process from a child to an adult is becoming less dependent, more independent, and they're gathering power along the way.
Yeah.
And for thousands and thousands of years, there was rites of passage.
Which then parents would be like, you're an adult now, this is what you do.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have that ceremony to be like, you're an adult, this is what you do now. And the kid's like, okay, that's what I do.
In the Jewish culture, it's called a bar mitzvah.
Yeah. Or
You know how old they are?
quinceañera or whatever.
A quinceañera?
Yeah.
Yeah. A bar mitzvah happens when a kid is 13.
That's young.
Well,
But
yeah, but not really.
and for the olden days, that's when you became a man, right?
Well-
And a woman, you get married and have babies.
Dude, there was guys, our forefathers who signed the Declaration of Independence.
Forefathers.
Those motherfuckers were graduating Yale, Harvard, and all these other things at like 16. You know why? Because they started at 5. There wasn't a bunch of woke-ass bullshit. They're like, you want to learn math? Dude, you could learn everything you need from K to 12th grade. You could learn it and master it and not have any problem understanding it by the time you're 11 or 12.
Yep.
No, even today's kids.
Just is filled with a bunch of bullshit in between.
Well, yeah, they're there for 8 hours to train them to be 8-hour employees.
Yep.
Like, these kids are so fucking smart. That's why we have our daughter in Montessori.
Which is so amazing.
Yeah.
They don't have homework. They're taught to be independent thinkers, entrepreneur-like. So they say, you need to get this done by the end of the day. Okay. So they just get it done.
Yeah.
It's not like, do it right now, go to this class, learn this. It's just, and they're more hands-on.
Yeah.
They teach math in a different way.
I would never put my child in a public school. And I know people are going to listen to this and be like, how in the world? Yeah, but you guys have money. Exactly. It's like saying this. I love lifting weights. Yeah, because you have arms. Well, fucking so do you.
Yeah.
So build the muscle.
Exactly.
So it's...
Well, from day one, I was
so
like,
tired.
I'm not doing that.
I'm so tired of victims. I could just fucking spit, dude.
Well, my plan for Jovi, too, she's in Montessori. It goes to 6th grade. I've said this before, but when the 6th grade, because I love her school so much. They're amazing.
Yeah, well,
when that
she's
ends,
thriving.
I know.
And growing.
And they're so awesome. They text me. They send me pictures. Like, they're so amazing. Like, public school doesn't do any of that. They're like, go through the office, go through this, and we just stuff your kid wherever.
Yeah.
Not on how they are. It's just whatever. They're not like that at this school. And then so after 6th grade, we're going to pull her out, and probably we'll be traveling a lot more, and she'll be a lot older, that we'll have a tutor or something that can travel with us or teach her on the certain days that we're home. And then she's done. Like, I'm not mixing her in with the other kids like that. Yeah, I'm not. She's too amazing.
Okay, so here's the crazy thing. And people who love personal development, we love personal development. And it's not, which even sounds weird to say. Why wouldn't you want to develop yourself into a better version of you? What is the purpose of personal development? To develop you as a person into more capable, more expansive, more better, more better.
Just amazing.
And one of the rules, first of all, we don't buy any of this world's bullshit about how they say things should rerun.
Well, now we don't have to shed all the negative things that we've been taught into Jovi.
Yeah, but
we don't have to shed that when she gets older.
But listen, you got to understand something, and I know you do understand it, but I want the people to understand it. Our culture has conditioned the brains of so many adults, almost every single one of them who listen to this podcast, to think that Monday through Friday and the weekends are a thing. It's not a thing. That's a man-made construct. It's not a fucking thing. Money is not paper and coins. That's a man-made construct. Stuffing your kid in a school to be taught by others is not a fucking thing. That's a man-made construct. So you're listening to people that don't believe the things or the conditioning or the constructs that this world has put on us. We say, fuck that, fuck you, it doesn't work. And it doesn't.
That's what we do in our relationship, too. Same thing.
So people who love personal development, their biggest quote is, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. Then why the fuck would you stick them next to a bunch of loser, mindless, conformed, conditioned zombies and expect your kid to thrive.
Exactly.
Do they? Of course. Those kids were going to thrive anyway. Mm-hmm. And obviously we have to interact with the world, but do we? No, we really don't.
Not when you get older.
When people go, oh, I'm around so many negative people. I'm not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're different. Why? Because I've developed myself. Dude, I was raised by parents that had jobs. We were broke as shit. I went through the same fucking schooling system that everybody else did.
Me too.
And I came out and said, that didn't fucking work.
Yep.
And I put my other kids through it and it didn't fucking work.
Yep.
And I'm like, with this one, I am a different human being. I'm more awake now than I've ever been awake. And I'm not putting my kid next to somebody who fucking eats fucking crayons and eats their own boogers and has parents. Like, dude, Jovi doesn't, like, she doesn't understand, like, why would a mom and dad hate each other?
Specifically when I deal with Jovi's friends from this school, Jovi's friends' parents, they text me, they're on top of it. We're like communicating so well. They're so easy. They're such lovely people. It's because they've taken the time to be different and invest in their children in this school. When I talk to other parents that don't do what we do and have kids in just public school, I mean, the difference.
Huge. I need to make a big disclaimer. I'm going to look into the camera so that you guys can see this. Here's the thing. I understand that it is so simple for you and so easy for you to be like, yeah, but that's for you guys. That is the cheapest, easiest, most bullshit, loser, weak, victim line that you are saying in your head, and I used to say it. That's why I'm coming at you. And I'm sharing with you. We both came from broke families. Mm-hmm. We were broke ourselves. And we built this life not saying, well, yeah, easy for you to say. And so when we say this, you're going to have one of two things happen. Either you are going to be inspired by this because you want to live on the same path. Well done. You're our people. Or you're going to be irritated by this, and it's because you're a victim. You get to choose. So we want to shine the light to this world that we live in. Not one day, not someday, now. And go, guess what? Public school system, shit. And it's rotting your children. The television that you're letting your kids watch, rotting your children and rotting their brain. Well, I don't know. I was pretty good. Are you? Are you? Are you? You know you're not. So fucking knock it off. That's what I have to say. I'm so tired of victims being like, well, it's easy for you. It wasn't easy for us.
No.
I used to work a construction job, and at lunch, I invested in a program on how to learn how to flip houses, and I was listening to the CDs and reading the spiral-bound notebook on my 30 to 45-minute lunch because I'm like, I got to get the fuck out of this place. I have to become free. That's who we talk to. That's who we are. If you don't want that, or you go, that's too hard, you're right. It is fucking hard. And if it's too hard, then quit. It's not for you. But if you want to be like, it's easy for you, go fuck yourself. It's not easy for us. None of the stuff that you and I have accomplished or gotten to has been easy. And guess what? We still push ourselves. We still put ourselves in environments where we go, can I do that? Well, fuck, I've done all this other stuff. And it was just step by step by step. So can you do it overnight? No. But can you start right now? Yes. And that's what I think we're talking about. If you were a shitball parent, you're looking at the biggest shitball parent ever at one time. Now, I'm a great fucking parent. I have 2 older sons that love me and respect me. They are living their own lives. And one of I wish her well. I text her. I want the best for her, but she's going to make her own decision. That's the other thing about parenting is these are little kids that are going to grow up to adults with their own opinion. They may or may not disagree with you. So show up with some curiosity and ask why. And then I've got a niece that's 17 that is grateful that we took her in from her really horrible situation. And I got a daughter that I was an absolute piece of shit to for the first 2 years. Wasn't a piece of shit to, I was just neglecting her. I was focused on other things.
Yeah.
Wasn't present. And now I'm a great fucking dad. So we
Come
all
a long
are
way.
learning. I have come a long way. And so to go
long way.
easy for you, fuck off. It's not easy for you. It's not easy for anyone. We are just telling you what we went through so that if you're there, you can see where you're at on the path and you can continue to keep going, because we want to encourage you to become going. And this is a dial. A parenting dial is a big deal because
Huge.
a man looks after his kids, teaches them the way, doesn't buckle under the pressure of all the bullshit that's happening in the world, and fuck off with all these people. That's what I got to say.
Well, I love how passionate you got about parenting.
Oh, man.
'Cause it means so much to me.
It riles me up, dude. Parenting and victim mentality, because guess
Yes.
what? Guess what we all thought as kids? We were little victims. Because guess what? We didn't have power. We were dependent on other people. And we learned a lot of this bullshit behavior from our parents. I didn't meet my mom until about 15 years after she died.
Yeah. Not literally, but
Not literally,
you
but
understood
I
her.
start to 15 years after she died, I go, oh shit.
That's why she acted the way she did.
I know why you acted the way you acted.
Yes.
Damn, you were a savage. Oh, fuck. I started hanging out with my father. I've always been really close with my dad, but as a man, got to see who he was as a man later in life and go, okay, I now understand my mother and father's dynamic way fucking differently. And where I got some of my ideas that I had to grow out of, wow, what a fucking journey we've come on. And the only reason we share it is because we know you can do it too. So if you want lots of sex, you want lots of love, and you want to feel the ROI of investing in your children, then be the person that invests in your children with your time and your energy, and then invest in yourself by figuring out how to become the best version of you. You realize the best version of you is more rich than you are right now? Do you realize the best version of you is more ripped than you are right now? Do you realize the best version of you is more radically in love than the version of you are right now? You know the best version of you is a better dad than you are right now? Do you know the best version of you is a better friend than you are right now? You got a long way to go. So do I. That's what we're doing. You got any closing comments? I'm fucking fired up, dude. I'm fucking fired up,
I
man.
love it so much.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Well, don't be a nerd. Spread the word. And don't be a toad. Go share your load with your wife.
Oh my gosh.
That was hilarious. That's what you get when I get a little fired up. All right. Well, with that being said, keep crushing it. That shit is contagious.